Hello, underachievers. Today I thought we should react to some anti-trans memes because I always find them funny. Not gonna lie. They're just funny to me. I just caught him red-handed. He had a happy hippo. You thief. I don't actually know how he got the happy hippo. They're in a cupboard that was closed that I purposely made so that he couldn't open it. I don't know. I don't just leave happy hippos lying around. Okay, I'm not irresponsible. What was I saying? So, transphobia. I love it. Not in the general sense, just transphobia directed towards me. I find hilarious. It is like the funniest thing, and I don't know why, I just find it so funny. I can't remember the last time someone said something transphobic directed towards me and it hurt my feelings. I feel like I'm at that point in my transition where I just don't care. Like, I don't care about, like, being, like, crazy manly all the time, because I guess I never was really crazy manly. I just don't care. It doesn't affect my life. I do this thing where I, like, find really funny transphobic comments on my YouTube videos, and I post them on Twitter, and I'm like, ha, this is funny, and then a lot of people respond, and they're like, hey, that's really screwed up, that's really mean, that guy is wrong, and I'm like, yeah, but, like, it's funny, like, we are laughing at the transphobia. And this is not to say that you should go and be transphobic to your local trans person. And it's also not to say that you should be transphobic to me in the comments. It's just that when someone is transphobic to me, it's just funny. Maybe I'll regret saying that at some point. I just find transphobia so funny because every time someone directs it towards me, they're trying to, like, they're doing it with the intention of hurting my feelings, and they just can't, and I find it so funny because they're so upset, and there's literally nothing they can do about me being trans. Like, I don't want it either, but, like, here we are. So, anti-trans memes, you guys sent me some of your favorites. I Google image searched some. I think I'll also regret filming with my hair looking like this. It needs cutting. I look like, my hair is literally doing this. Why is this? So the first one, I'm fat, but I identify as skinny. I'm trans slender. Slender. Do you ever realize that you just say things wrong sometimes? I don't like it's not a lisp, what is? I lisp? Do I lisp? Slender. Now, this meme, it could not be transphobic. It's like 2 steps down from the one joke that transphobes have, as in like, oh, I identify as an attack helicopter. That one was funny the first time I heard it in like 2014. Not anymore. This one, my dad actually posted something like this on Facebook. My dad's great, by the way. I love you. Look, I'm not here to judge what and what isn't transphobic, but to me it's kind of like, I'm not offended by this. It's not really offensive unless you like dig deep into like why this is a joke that people find funny. It's kind of part of the joke that people think trans people are suddenly men because they suddenly just identify as men. I think the issue is with the word identify. There's obviously nothing wrong with saying you identify as something. It's kind of the joke that like, oh, I can identify as whatever I want and people have to respect that. Like, that's what people think being trans is. Which clearly it isn't, but it comes from a place of like miseducation, misinformation, whatever. We don't attack people who post these memes, we just shun them. Just because they're not funny. Humor is subjective, but this is objectively not funny. Mummy, that's not a lady. Oh, sorry. Mommy, that's not a lady. Shh, we aren't allowed to speak the truth anymore. What's your problem, you little bigot? Haven't you seen a lady pee before? The link to this is www.facebook.com/heteros inspiring pride. Really tempted to check out that group. So this is a joke about trans women being able to go into women's bathrooms because that's the bathrooms they should go to because they're women, and not even in like a woke way, like trans women are women. Like, yes, trans women are women, but if you saw like Steph Sanyati in a man's bathroom, you'd be like, what are you doing in here? Did I say her name right? Steph Sanyati? Sanyati. Yeah. In the same way that if I went into a woman's bathroom because like I have the female sex, I don't know why I do this. My sex is female. If I went into the women's bathroom, people would be like, who? Man? To be fair, they'd probably be like, why is this little boy in the women's bathroom? And that's happened before I started testosterone. I went in the ladies when I was out with my school friends. It would be weird if I went in the men's when I wasn't out as trans. But there are a few occasions where people were like, are you in the right bathroom? I don't even think this meme was made to be funny. I think it was more of like a political statement to, you know, like demonize trans women. Like, there's this whole idea that trans women are actually men that dress up as women and want to like molest your children, which just isn't a thing. Like, if they wanted to do that to a kid, they wouldn't dress up as a woman to do it, they just do it. Right, a SpongeBob meme, we love these. Transgenders, women's rights, gay rights. Oh no, they're yanking women's rights away. Gay rights. Oh, gay rights are next. Okay. These ones that irritate me because, like, I'm a feminist. I'm also a trans guy. You can be a feminist and trans. It works together. I know that a lot of TERFs will say that feminism and trans rights activists, they can't be in the same spaces. They don't coexist. They can absolutely coexist happily. Trans people haven't taken away women's rights. Trans women going into the bathroom isn't taking away women's rights. It's giving women more rights, you know, because trans women are women. I guess trans people are coming for gay rights next, which I've heard of. A transphobic lesbian YouTuber comes to mind. This is what it looks like when a movement gets hijacked. So Black Lives Matter is hijacked by All Lives Matter. Okay, so the person who made this meme is in support of Black Lives Matter, I assume, which is weird that you'd be in support of that and then not support trans people, because, you know, there are black trans people. You can't just pick and choose which black person you support. And then it says gay pride and LGB are hijacked by pride, and LGBTQQIDAAPPO2S BNBGN CGGAPPO+. I love how a lot of, like, cis gays will be like, oh, the trans people are hijacking our movement. Trans people have always been advocates for gay liberation. Also, like, this is a meme about, like, trans people, so they're suggesting that TQQQIDAAPPP all stands for someone in the trans community, but that's, like, you could just put the T there. You know, as in, like, the LGBT community, which, like, that's what people call it. Next, homosexual trans people. The entire alphabet inside, oh, it's the Trojan horse. And then it's trans people leading the Trojan horse into the LGB castle. Ah, so they believe that homosexual trans people belong in the LGBT community because they're homosexual. Although I wonder if they think that, like, I'd be a straight woman. Because I'm a guy into guys. But because I was born a girl, they'd be like, oh, you're straight women, yeah. What do straight people do? All these letters being brought into the LGBT community. I just find that funny because, like, if they're worried about, like, the T adding more letters, the more progressive way to say LGBT is, like, LGBTQIA+. Q just stands for queer, which can embody the entire LGBT community. I stands for intersex, which doesn't really have anything to do with trans people, apart from a lot of intersex people identify as trans. And then the A for asexuality, which again has, like, nothing to do with being trans. I love how they're blaming inclusivity on trans people. I'll take that as a compliment. Gay men being given estrogen as a form of conversion therapy in the 1950s. Yeah, if you didn't know about that, that sucked. They used to give gay men estrogen so that they'd lose their sex drive and then they wouldn't be those sexual deviants that us gay people are. And then gay men being given estrogen as a form of conversion therapy in the 2010s. Corporate needs you to find the difference between this picture and this picture. They're the same picture. Did J.K. Rowling make this? I will explain the difference. In the 1950s, gay men, as in men, their guys, were forced to take estrogen because they wanted to treat their homosexuality. In the 2010s, trans women, as in women, are being given estrogen consensually because that's what they need in order to further their transition. And, like, I know you know this. I shouldn't have to explain it. Next one. Ooh, it's trans people drowning in a sea of transphobia. Oh, I get it. They're overreacting. Now, I understand that there's, like, a tiny minority of trans people that, you know, could say that something's transphobic when it's not. But I feel like trans people kind of know best when someone's being transphobic. Like, there's always these little microaggressions towards trans people. And sometimes it's difficult for cis people to recognize those microaggressions because they haven't lived that experience. It is a funny meme, though. Like, it's funny. Jack and Jill went up the hill so Jack could lick her candy. That's weird. It's weird for you to make that anyway, they're children. But Jack got a shock and a mouthful of cock because Jill's real name is Randy. It's funny. I'll give you that. It's weird that you care enough about trans people to make a meme like this, but it's funny, so who made this? The one thing I love about conservative women is you never have to ask, is that a woman? I was gonna say that conservatives can be gender non-conforming, but you know, like, those are not traits that conservative people value, so. But, like, Blair White is a conservative, like, unfortunately, like, that's gross. I do not support whatever she thinks. But she looks like a woman, so there could be many trans women in your spaces and you wouldn't even know, and that's what makes you so mad, isn't it? In democratic America, if this girl sees a penis at a party, it's a crime. But if this girl sees a penis in the women's bathroom, it's tolerance. See, like, I've seen this before. I understand what they're trying to get at, but it doesn't really make sense. As much as Caitlyn Bennett would love them to, women's bathrooms don't have urinals, or urinals, I don't know how to pronounce it. In what situation in a bathroom where there's only cubicles for you to pee in, would a little girl see anyone's genitals? Like, these are unrealistic situations. And I know this is fear-mongering, and it's bad, and it's got a terrible influence on how people, like, perceive trans people. But it's funny, stupid. I'm gonna leave that there. If you want me to do another one of these videos, I have more anti-trans memes to react to, believe me. I've got a whole folder. If you want that, I can do that. But that's the end of this video. Have a good day or don't. See you later, losers. Bye. Tell me your favourite anti-trans meme, or your favourite thing that an anti-trans person has said before. An anti-trans? Is that an identity? Okay, so I know the video is over, but I've just seen this new one. Someone sent this to me. It's another anti-trans meme. And it says, say the damn pronouns. Who does that? Literally, who does that? Where does that come from? Who says this? Here's my impression of trans Twilight. Translight, if you will. Say it. Out loud. Pronouns. And here is my impression. And here is my impression of a vine, even though it probably goes on longer than a vine should. Say it. What? Just say it. I don't get it. Say the What do you mean? Say the damn pronouns.